Welcome to Evidence Mastery with Dr. Masood Tusi. Today, we are going to explore what digital twins are and how they are used in healthcare and pharmaceutical research. We're basically going to treat this like a masterclass today. We'll move step by step from the foundational concepts all the way to real-world applications, regulatory frameworks, and of course, the ethical implications. Okay, let's just dive right in by acknowledging a massive problem that plagues our industry. Traditional drug development faces a staggering 90 to 95% failure rate. No, seriously, up to 95%. It takes up to 14 years and costs over $1 billion just to bring a single new drug to market. The friction, the delays, the costs, they're simply unsustainable. We desperately need a radically different approach to how we discover, test, and manufacture medicines. To see how we solve this, we're going to take a course-style journey today. We'll start with the fundamentals, move into discovery and formulation, then clinical trials, real-world evidence, the supply chain, and finally, regulation and ethics. Section 1. The fundamentals of digital twins. So, what exactly is a digital twin? Well, the concept was actually conceived by NASA back in the 1960s. They famously used it to save the Apollo 13 mission by simulating the damaged spacecraft right here on Earth. But a digital twin isn't just a static computer model or some basic blueprint. It's an integrated, multi-physics, probabilistic simulation. It is a living, continuous digital replica of a physical asset, and it constantly updates itself with real-time data so it mirrors the exact state of its real-world counterpart. Now, when we adapt this incredible engineering paradigm to human biology, we get what is known as the virtual patient. This is a highly complex computational model tailored directly to an individual's unique physiology, genetics, and health history. And because it continuously updates with new data, researchers can run dynamic what-if health scenarios. Think about that. We can literally test how a specific patient will respond to a treatment before they ever swallow a single pill. It's an absolute game changer. Section 2. Discovery and formulation using in silico methods. Right at the beginning of the drug pipeline, before we even think about human trials, we enter the phase of in silico discovery. By using causal AI to model molecular interactions, researchers can test billions of virtual scenarios in just a few hours. We can simulate exactly how a drug will dissolve, how it reacts to different pH levels, and its precise viscosity. This dramatically reduces the risk of failure during formulation and scale-up. It pretty much ensures that only the most optimized, effective compounds ever make it out of the digital lab and into the physical one. Section 3. Clinical trials and revolutionizing research. For decades, we've faced this really cruel ethical dilemma, giving a placebo, or just standard of care, to severely ill patients solely to establish a control group. But with digital twins, we're moving towards something called a synthetic control arm. Instead of recruiting real patients to take a placebo, we use their digital twins to simulate exactly how they would have responded to standard care. This means more real patients actually get the experimental, potentially life-saving treatment. To put that into perspective, let's look at a recent collaboration between the AI company Unlearn and Johnson & Johnson. Their models demonstrated that digital twins could safely reduce the required size of the control arm in a phase 3 Alzheimer's trial by up to 33%. That is a massive reduction in costs, a much faster trial enrollment period, and most importantly, fewer patients receiving a placebo. Furthermore, the predictive accuracy is just astounding. In a pivotal study for chronic graft versus host disease, researchers modeled over 2,000 virtual patients. The digital twin control arm predicted an objective response rate of 52.7%. And guess what? That perfectly matched the historical expectations from clinical literature. It proved for sure that these synthetic models can reliably and accurately replicate reality. Section 4. Real-world evidence, or the fuel for these models. Now, you might be wondering, how do we make these twins so accurate? Well, a digital twin is truly only as good as its data. It relies heavily on massive, diverse repositories of real-world evidence to constantly calibrate and validate its predictions. We're talking about integrating electronic health records, complex genomic and multi-omic data, real-time biosensor readings from wearable devices, and vast healthcare claims databases. This rich tapestry of real-world data is the absolute fuel that makes the virtual patient a dynamic, breathing reflection of human biology. Section 5. Supply Chain and Manufacturing Excellence. Welcome to the era of Biopharma 4.0. Today, advanced robotics and continuous manufacturing lines are running perfectly in parallel with digital twins. They monitor the entire system in real time, catching anomalies in pressure, temperature, or quality long before a physical batch is ruined. This kind of predictive quality control helps organizations slash production costs by up to 50%, all while maintaining pristine regulatory compliance. But once that drug leaves the factory, the stakes remain incredibly high. The pharmaceutical industry currently loses around $35 billion annually to cold chain failures and supply chain disruptions. $35 billion! AI-powered supply chain digital twins solve this by modeling the entire logistics network. They can proactively reroute shipments based on real-time weather data, geopolitical alerts, or traffic, ensuring those fragile biologics and vaccines arrive safely. Section 6. Regulation and future ethics. Of course, bringing such a disruptive technology into healthcare requires rigorous oversight, and regulators are actively shaping this frontier. To ensure synthetic data isn't just algorithmic guesswork, agencies like the FDA have outlined strict steps for model qualification. Their 7-step AI credibility framework demands the exact same evidentiary standards for digital twins as they do for real controls. You have to ensure data integrity, validate model performance, and continuously monitor the twin to prove it scientifically rigorous. Ethically, compiling this much individualized, high-resolution data definitely sparks some very real privacy and ownership conversations. It's something we're constantly debating. We also have to ensure the real-world data feeding these models is diverse enough to reflect everyone accurately. And as we map out these perfect digital blueprints, it brings up an interesting debate. Where do we draw the line between using a twin to restore someone's health versus eventually pursuing human enhancement? As we shift from treating broad, generalized populations to analyzing incredibly high-resolution virtual cells, it leaves us with a profound, paradigm-shifting question. Will digital twins completely redefine what we consider normal human health? Think about it. The benchmark for health might no longer be a population average, but rather your own individual, optimized digital baseline. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are interested in similar topics, do not hesitate to subscribe to my channel. If you want to learn more about the advanced methods and applications of real-world evidence, I am writing a book called Real-World Evidence, Methods and Mastery, which will be published in 2027 and will be available on Amazon.com. Stay tuned.